Well, welcome Couples Academy. This is the Couples Academy show. You are the Couples Academy family, and we're glad that you're with us here this morning. Listen, it's Monday. It is the day that we honor Martin Luther King and all that he did to fight for the justice, the freedom, and the liberation of the African American community in this country. He was not just a leader to the States, but he was an international global phenomenon that made an impact all over the world. And so we honor him today, and we hope that you do as well. But we're going to continue in our conversation. Good morning, Danielle. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing phenomenal that you're by my side and we doing this thing together.
Absolutely. I wouldn't want to be.
There it is. Speaking to the mic. Speaking to the mic.
Okay, I'm in the mic.
All right. So listen, we want to welcome all of you who are here.
Yes. Welcome, guys. I want to ask you to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. That way you will not miss an episode. We're trying to spread this message across the nation. And since you guys are off and you've been relaxing today because it's MLK Day, you got all the time in the world to make sure that you do so. So we appreciate you so much.
Couple quick announcements before we get started. This Friday, we're excited because it is the Foundry experience. We have 45 men traveling from all over the world. The world, not just the States, the world.
How far is the furthest person coming?
The furthest, I think London. You know, they're flying across the pond.
Okay.
You know, we got a couple coming from London.
Awesome.
But we got some connections in Africa too, but they won't be able to make it. But we're excited. It's going to be incredible. We start out on Friday, end on Sunday, and we're expecting transformation.
I'm so excited
in the lives of
for all these men, and I'm also even more excited for all the wives who are connected to these men, who are going to be able to benefit from the transformation that they experience. When men get together, they just, it's like iron sharpening iron, and many men are doing life alone, and they don't have a brotherhood. And so for them to be able to go there and get all they're getting and then bring it back to their families,
that's right.
Watch the transformation that's going to take place.
I heard somebody say, when you think about it, we use the term iron sharpens iron. And if you think about it, that's a painful thing. Think about iron sharpening iron. It doesn't feel good. It's not something you look forward to, but it makes you better. And so sometimes it requires tough love, hard conversations, being courageous to dive into things that make you feel uncomfortable, but it makes you better ultimately.
And pushing you past your limits. Oh, I know there's going to be a lot of limit pushing going on. You guys can't hear me? Okay. I know there's going to be a lot of limit pushing going on
Absolutely.
At this event. So push all the limits. You push your limits too. I want to see you come back brand new, sparkling, shining, and all glistening and glowing. Okay, I want you to get something out of this too.
I'm gonna get something out of this.
Yes.
Last Chance Weekend is coming up. We want you to be aware of that. February the 10th through the 11th. People are signing up. We want you to also sign up. But listen, let's dive into today's conversation. We're doing part 2 of a conversation that we started, Danielle and I believe it was on Thursday, and it was the 11 signs that a cheater will cheat again. We do not believe that once a cheater, always a cheater. We don't believe that, because change and transformation is possible, and that's why we're committed to doing the work that we do. But the reality is, this thing will work if you work it. If you're unrepentant, if you're unwilling to change, if you're not remorseful, if you don't see anything wrong with what you've done, if you point the finger and blame your partner for your deeds and your actions, that doesn't seem like somebody who is willing to make a significant difference, turn course, go in another direction, and have a relationship that they currently do not have. And so we're going to be talking about what these signs are, what to be aware of, and how you need to reevaluate your situation based upon these things. Okay, so we covered 4 on Thursday. We're going to go and hit these as many as we can today. But the first one,
I'll start with the first one. Okay. So the first one says, how much stock does your partner put into being honest in general? And so this is something that you could take a look at historically, right? Because we're talking about predicting, what is the likelihood that this is going to happen again? Well, if you know historically this person does not put a lot of stock in honesty. As a matter of fact, they feel like, listen, my business is my business, and that's how it's always been. We didn't talk about these things. We don't tell these things. This is not, this is my business. That's your business. You don't need to know. It's on a need-to-know basis. If you know that's how they feel about things, and they don't value telling the truth, not because they just don't value telling the truth. They don't have that as a standard for their lifestyle. So you know that this is going to be an issue. And some couples will say, like, I'm always having to pry the truth out of them about basic small things, or her, about basic small things like, where'd you go today? Or what did you eat today? Or, it's just that it's on a need to know basis. That's my personal business. I don't have to tell you. So some people actually have that belief system and mindset.
Which is crazy. And they're evasive. They avoid conversations. They don't want to, they're offended the fact that you would even ask me. Who are you to ask me? Why are you asking me all these questions? I'm grown. I'm independent. I'm autonomous. I don't need to answer this. You're not my boss. You're not my supervisor. Like, the crazy.
And
right?
and then the lies of omission, right? Because that's just, to me, I don't know what's worse. It's so frustrating because it's just like, if I asked you this question that should have led to this response, but you omitted, and now I have to ask all these questions Socratically to get to the answer that I want. It's almost like I got to put you in a trap. I got to ask this many questions, going around the barn just to get to the answer, because I know that you omit details. So I have to be like a detective to ask you the questions that I need to ask you to get to the truth. Nobody wants to deal with that.
No.
And it really does not foster an environment for trust, to develop the trust that you lost.
And one of the rules that we often articulate when people come to a Last Chance Weekend or a private marriage intensive is details matter. Like, we got to get into the details. We got to get into the weeds. So like during the full disclosure is very interesting. A spouse may have a long list of questions. Some have about 20, 30. Some have about 120, 30. But once we go through those questions, I'm listening to these answers. I'm listening to what's being said and what's not being said. Then I come with my list of questions.
Right.
You better believe I'm coming with them. I'm coming with these questions. And literally, I mean, it's not like it feels like an interrogation, but I get into the nooks and crannies because, to your point, Danielle, if I ask this question, they're going to give me that answer. But they knew what I was really trying to ask.
Yeah.
So I got to slice that thing down 1,000 different ways to get all the pieces of this puzzle to form this picture.
Yes, there are some responses that are not yes or no, right? There's more to the story.
Always.
And so that tells you, like, if somebody is avoidant and they don't want to give you the details and they're avoiding the obvious truth. Sometimes it's obvious truth. Well, this is an indication that, they're not willing to do the work. They're still in a stuck place of dishonesty. Yeah. And that's not going to help you moving forward.
And the reality is you have to tell the truth, but you also have to stop lying. And those are two different things, because you could tell the truth about a thing and lie about a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yes.
So, but when you choose to no longer lie, it means that you're telling the truth about everything. Let's go to the next one. We're talking about the signs that your partner may potentially cheat again. All right. If your partner will not respect the boundaries that you've set to help in the coping with the infidelity, this is huge, because after we've gone through full disclosure, we walk you through a journey where we create boundaries, borders, parameters, new rules. One thing about Bill Maher, we used to watch his show, and at the end of the show, he would have new rules, right? And so we believe in having new rules because the old rules didn't work, or maybe there were no rules. And we need to establish some type of relational code of ethics that we both make this relationship work. But when we establish these rules and you just don't honor them, that's just so whether it's giving access to your phone, whether it's checking in regularly,
however many times you establish, because people make all kinds of commitments at Last Chance Weekend, right? Because we help you set these boundaries and we tell you what you're gonna we help you map out what you're gonna do based on your circumstances. Some people do have to leave their job. Sometimes that's the agreement that you both have come to. But when you get home, after you've established all the boundaries, after Hassani and Danielle and the team have helped you map out a plan of action in order for you to get back to where you need to be, and you do not honor them, where do we go from here? That's almost like we just lied now. Because you've established these boundaries and you committed to move forward in a certain action, but then when you got home and the rubber hit the road and you actually have to go ahead and make these things happen, show your phone, give the password, check in multiple times a day, open up your world in a way that you hadn't, and you don't do that, it's a breakdown in the whole system in the process.
It is. And so that's why we don't have general ideas and principles and things that sound good. We get into the weeds.
Details.
Right? We get into the weeds.
Matter.
So we are agreeing to set up a boundary, and there's certain things that need to be done. We put time stamps on it.
Yeah.
You know, we dig in deep. So you're going to walk away with something so comprehensive, and all you need to do is just work it. Like, it will work if you work it, but you got to be willing to do it. The boundaries are critically important. It protects you. It keeps, unwanted people from coming in, and it keeps you two from going out.
Unwanted people is a big deal. I mean, unwanted friends.
And that's
negative relationships.
That's another thing, Danielle, because sometimes you got to cut off friends who were complicit, friends who acted as alibis, friends that didn't have a moral standard and just went along to get along, and they didn't challenge you, they didn't question you, they didn't call you out, they didn't do any of that.
Sometimes you got to cut off and distance yourself from friends and family, and that's what we're talking about boundaries. Because when we say when the rubber hits the road, that means when you get back home where your real life exists. And actual phone calls have to be made, and boundaries have to be set, and you have to reestablish whatever you've established within your marriage so that you can move forward together. And then you're nervous about it and you're scared, and then you renege and don't do what it is that you say that you're going to do. And another way of saying it is that you don't do what it is that you say that you want. You said that you wanted this marriage. You said you were willing to do whatever is necessary to restore this marriage. You said, you said, but when you get back home and the action plan is right there written out for you to implement and you don't do it, where do we go from there? But the good news is that we don't leave them hanging, though. We have the support. It's like we get the calls, and now there's the tussle back and forth because it's not easy. It's not easy to commit to doing the things that you say that you want. You said that you want them.
All I know, don't be a renegade. Listen, you're watching the Couples Academy show. We're about to go to a commercial break. Stay tuned. Be right there. We'll get into more on the other side of this break.
To the wives struggling to move forward, I know that you're hurt, filled with doubt, fear, anger, and resentment. I know you're trying to be your best self throughout this recovery process, all while still having to be mom, daughter, sister, friend, and so much more. I know it feels impossible to be there for everyone else when at times your journey feels so isolated and alone. I know that more than once a day, you scream on the inside, I can't take this anymore. I know there are days when you feel like you want to give up and run away. I know you spend too much time sitting in your car parked in the driveway to get your head right so that you can keep moving. I know this feels like a lot of work with no guarantees. And I know you wonder, what happened to me? Who am I? And why am I here? More than you'd like to admit. I know all of this because I once felt the way you do too. It may not be evident by looking around because we all wear our masks, but you're not the only one who feels like you'll never get back to you. That's why I've launched Unearthed. Unearthed is a 12-week group coaching program focused on discovering the woman within. Just as the earth hides all kinds of precious stones waiting to be found, buried within every woman are the seeds of wisdom, strength, purpose, and passion waiting to be brought to the light. Unearthed will take you through a spiritual, emotional, and physical excavation process that will reveal to you who God designed you to be and guide you through a process to embrace and activate your true identity. When you complete this journey, you'll have a new focus aligned with your core values so that you can begin to feel your life again and discover that your gifts aren't buried, but planted and waiting to be unearthed. Register today.
Welcome back, everybody. You are watching the Couples Academy show. Unearth opens on January 30th. Make sure you go to the website, check it out. It's under Services, Unearth. All the information that you need is there. We're going to jump into number 7, which is if your partner is not caring, considerate, or patient with you as you deal with your infidelity, healing, and recovering. I mean, it speaks for itself, y'all. I mean, it's interesting because the infidelity in and of itself is so destructive. It's like dropping a Hiroshima bomb on your entire world. You don't know where you can land. You don't have solid footing. You know, if you imagine a bomb dropping on your home, there were places where you hung pictures and there were things that you had placed in certain positions and you don't know where anything is. You can't gather yourself, right? But the offending partner oftentimes wants to get as far away from the destruction that they created as soon as possible. Why? Because both of you are in pain. And oftentimes what we miss is that when we cause other people pain, we are also heaping that much pain and more tenfold back onto us. So we want to escape the pain. And oftentimes the offending partner really wants you to hurry up, heal, get over it already. We went through the process. We did Last Chance Weekend. I gave a full disclosure. I did all these things. Now hurry up and heal. Could you hurry up and heal?
Yeah.
And your partner really needs to be sensitive to the journey that you're going through because each person goes through a different journey. There's no journey of healing that is alike because there's no two people that are alike.
This is what happens. It's just like, what are you crying for? Or why are you so angry all the time? A lot of times people don't have an understanding of what a person's going through because they don't see physical evidence of the pain because it's an internal pain that's on your heart and on your mind, right? We understand physical pain. We understand when someone's limping, when they can't, when they've been shot, when they've been stabbed, when we just had surgery and they're struggling to walk and balance. We get that. But this internal emotional pain we don't get, and so we don't have a sensitivity to it. And to your point, we want to race through that process and just move on. And it hurts even more because not only did you do this to me, you don't even have any compassion or empathy for what I'm going through. And now you want to race me through for your benefit because everything that the unfaithful partner oftentimes wants is for their benefit, right? When are you going to heal so I don't have to deal with it? When are we going to have sex so I can get my needs met? Why don't you stay in this marriage so it doesn't change my lifestyle? And so we're so selfish, self-centered, self-focused in our agenda to get our spouse to heal. And our spouses feel it. When you make your spouse's healing about them and not about you, they're able to receive what it is that you have to offer.
And I think that, the frustration is that if you are the unfaithful partner and you're also doing all the things right? You've changed your life, you're going through the process, you're doing all the right things. But the partner that you hurt is still going through their healing process. And so even though you're doing the right things, certain things that happen throughout the week might trigger your hurt partner. So now, for example, they're over questioning you because they don't have trust, because something that happened caused them to feel triggered and they're remembering something. And so now they're asking you too many questions, or now they're wondering, okay, they're clocking you, when you're going to get back. And so, the symptoms of your partner who's going through a healing process feel strenuous and stressful for you, and also feel like accusing to you. You feel like you're on trial still when you know you're doing the right things and you're not doing anything wrong, but their process of healing still puts you on the stand, right? And so what you need to understand is that the blessing in going through it, the blessing in enduring it, knowing that the more you open up your life, the more you allow your partner to heal at their pace, answer those questions, and consider how they're feeling, those experiences distance themselves from each other. You'll have less and less of these moments where they don't trust you, or they're feeling triggered, or they're having thoughts, because oftentimes they're just out of nowhere. Your partner that's been hurting will have a memory, and it'll be playing in their head, and they're just in a bad mood because they're remembering something that maybe they didn't even participate in. They weren't even there,
right.
But they got a memory of what they think happened and what they think played out. As they go through their healing process, as they do the work, those experiences will distance themselves, but you got to support them in that journey. You have to have compassion for them in that journey, knowing that you're the one that brought that devastation into this relationship in the first place.
Better teach it. You better tell it. Number eight. Here we go. If your partner is gaslighting you,
Ouch.
It is an indication that they may cheat again. Now, here's the reality. The person deflects, right? When you bring a concern or when you bring an issue to them, they deflect, and then they turn it right back on you, and they begin to blame you, and they begin to get angry. Why are you bringing this up? Why are we talking about this? You're just so insecure. You're just paranoid. What you seeing is not what you're seeing. Don't believe what your eyes see. Don't believe what your ears hear. It's all a lie. And so they don't take any responsibility. They shift blame, and it's like the emotions are shifted. Now I'm offended because you're offended. And I think we know somebody who would call it, you're an angry stealer. Like, I'm angry, and now you steal
Anger
my
stealer.
anger. You steal my anger, and now you become angry at me because I was angry at you. And so that's the tit for tat.
It's so true. And this is the thing. This is why we help you establish these rules of engagement when you're in a discussion, so that they don't turn into arguments, right? Because people say there should be rules to your arguing. Let's try to avoid arguing. Let's put rules to how we discuss issues, right? And that's why we have these work days and play days, right? So when you're working through an issue and you're bringing an issue to your spouse, there are rules. You don't turn the table, because guess what? They're the ones that said, hey, listen, I want to talk to you about this thing. This is an issue that I have with you. Rules say when someone presents an issue to you, you deal with the issue at hand. You don't go in the backyard, dig up something 30 years ago and be like, oh, well, you do that because you did that last week. No, that's tit for tat. What you do is you allow the situation at hand that's on the table to go through its motions, work it out, deal with that, and then when it's your turn, because usually you're working with one issue at a time. If y'all know about how we do the issue pie and all that, you know that the other pieces of pie go in the freezer, right? So if you know we're dealing with this one slice, this is how you avoid arguing. You don't gaslight. You don't go digging up something else. You don't go tit for tat, because that brings about an argument. What we want is to have a discussion where we resolve real issues between the two of you. And then once that issue is resolved, then you are done with that, pull another slice out of the freezer.
There it is. You're watching the Couples Academy show. We got one more break, couple quick announcements. Stay tuned. We're going to hit the others. Be right back.
We're really excited about Foundation. It is a new group program where couples are gathering from all around the world twice a week, couples who just want to have a thriving, successful, amazing marriage. No really well-built house is built without a foundation. As a matter of fact, without a foundation, it can't stand. It would just crumble right into the ground. We are going to interview experts and other successful couples so that you can get a glimpse into the lives of other people who are doing what it is that you desire to do, who have and who are accomplishing what it is that you want to accomplish. And we also have over 500 videos available for you to watch of all of our teaching. Everything that we've ever done, every topic that we've ever covered will be accessible to you.
So guys, if this sounds exciting to you, and if this sounds like something you've been waiting for, go ahead and just give it a try. We're literally giving away a 15-day trial for $1. And then after that, it's simply $3 a day. And so, is your marriage worth it? Is your future worth it? Join the community today. Just click that button and meet us on the other side. That's right, guys. We're back. You're watching the Couples Academy show. You just heard about foundations. We did a soft launch in December. We got a nice group of couples in there, and they're waiting for you to join. They're like, when are the people coming? Because they need to get in on this good meal, because we eating good, and it's making a change and a transformation in our lives, and we're excited about 2023. So if you want something new and different for your relationship, join Foundations. It is $1 to try it out. It's a 15-day trial for $1, and then it's less than a cup of coffee a day. You can't do any better than that. And we're building a foundation. Now, what's powerful when you think about a tree? I'll give you a short version. When a tree grows, it first needs to grow down. Like the roots grow first before the tree actually rises up. So you have to put some roots. You have to put some roots in your life, in your relationship, and we give you those foundational pillars in the Foundations program, Mondays and Wednesdays. There's a whole lot to it. So if you're interested, just go to the website, click it, get in, see if you like it, and let's continue on. All right, we're in this conversation, Danielle. We're talking about the 11 signs that a cheater will cheat again. Not that they're guaranteed to do it, but the possibility or probability is there if they exhibit these particular behaviors.
Right, because listen, a lot of folks, they come back from Last Chance Weekend and they have transformed. Y'all have seen the testimonies.
Real talk.
You come on now. And if you haven't, go on YouTube, and when you're on YouTube, watch the testimonials. They're transformed. And they have a plan of action. They feel a new lease on life. But guess what? It works if you work it. So if you're not working it, now we have problems. And we're talking about some of those things that people do or don't do that leads them back to the problem. So number 9, if you remain on high alert and cannot get back to a trusting place with your spouse. So, remaining on high alert is that you get back to it and ain't nothing changed. Like it's the same old, same old. She is doing the same things, being secretive, going in the room, closing the door behind her, on the phone with people that you don't know who she's talking to, doesn't want to discuss it with you, still moving the same way. Maybe you discussed your emotional or physical or sexual needs or whatever, and those things aren't changing. There's still no connection, no touching, no sex, no kissing, none of that. Going in the bathroom, spending too much time in the bathroom, whatever it is, taking off and going places and not telling you where they're going, MIA, missing in the middle of the day, like whatever it is that was, when you get back and you know you have a plan of action and things are supposed to change, but nothing's changed. You can hit the bomb button. If you ain't got a plan. And this is the thing. This is why we tell you that you need to have your hub and spoke, because oftentimes we don't do because we don't know how to do. Like conceptually, we know what to do. Like, okay, we got the plan here. I know this is step 1, step 2, step 3, but there's so much conflict internally. I'm battling. How do I fix my words to say this? Now I'm battling, how I feel, my shame, my guilt, whatever it is that you're battling. Sometimes you don't know what to do, and you really need to be able to pick up the phone or text or get on Marco and talk to someone. Somebody needs to talk you off the ledge, because sometimes people are like, you know what, forget it. I quit. I'm throwing in the towel. I thought I could do this, but I can't. And they really need to be able to reach out to somebody who can say, yes, you know what, sis, you can do this. You can do this. Let me tell you how you can do this. This is the step that you're going to take. It's not as difficult. Like sometimes the answer is right there. There's a door right there, and we're so focused on all the problems, we didn't even see the answers right there. Oftentimes we need somebody to point you in the direction so that you could get to the result that you want. So it's really important to have those connections around you.
Without a shadow of a doubt. Listen, number 10, if your partner continues to flirt with others and seek external validation. Now, this is probably something that he or she was doing prior to the affair, which led to the affair. And if he or she continues to engage in those type of behaviors, is an indication that either then they're done with the affair or they're setting themselves up for another betrayal. And that's something to be mindful of. Any type of validation or flirtation or affirmation that one should be seeking should be within the relationship, not outside the relationship. Because of this covenant relationship, there's certain things that only your spouse is responsible in giving permission to speak into, to meet the need of. And when you seek these things outside of the relationship, that's when it becomes dangerous. And it's not just about the physical. You could be seeking emotional validation and connection. It could be social interaction. It could just just be, it doesn't matter what it is. If you have all of your energies going outward and none of them coming inward, it is a setup for disaster. And so these are the things that we need to be mindful of, observing behaviors, observing patterns to try to predict, could this thing actually happen
And do
again?
I need to make a call? You know, somebody's saying, well, what are you saying? Like, are these signs of the possibility that the person might cheat again? Yes.
Absolutely.
And this is why it's important for you to have that hub and spoke that we just were talking about, because who do you talk to? Who do you go to? Who's in your camp that can give you wise counsel? Do you have that? If you're a married person and you don't have someone who is speaking life into your marriage, somebody who is showing you the way, why? Because they've been there and they know exactly what you're going through and they already have reached some level of a mountaintop, then you're in trouble, period. You need someone to be able to speak into your life, and especially after an affair. If you're trying to heal an affair on your own or restore it on your own, it's disastrous because number one, you don't have the knowledge, because who went to university to learn how to be married? Anybody?
No.
Is that a class or a course? No.
That's why you need to come to Couples Academy.
That's the whole point, you know?
We're the university.
That's the whole point. And so you don't know. And so, yes, if you're seeing these signs, especially, because first of all, if you have experienced infidelity and you have not gone through any kind of a process for restoration, you're definitely experiencing all of these things. But if you have gone through a process of restoration and you're still experiencing these things, it's a sign that you need to reach out and get some support. Get back on track, get the healing that you need, dial in, get your hub and spoke in order.
There it is.
Last one, if your partner continues to be overprotective over their technology, and we touched on that a little bit earlier. Hassani and I have an open book policy. There is nothing that he has or I have that we don't know about. I can be on his phone, his computer, all the technology.
In my wallet.
All up in his wallet. He can dig all up in my purse if he wants to.
In her purse.
Stealing pieces of gum out of my purse. Like, there's nothing that I have or he has that I don't have access to. Now, that being said, because there is trust, I don't have to check behind him. I'm not digging in. I'm not on his laptop like, let me see what he said to the last person. I don't have to do that because we have established trust. Until you have established trust, you have to expose your entire life, be completely vulnerable and open to your spouse until further notice, period. Now, there should never be a point in time where you're closing and hiding and all of that. But there will be a time when your spouse doesn't necessarily have to check after you have shown some sense of trust.
So saying I won't do it again is not enough.
Yes.
Making promises and declarations and being so convincing in your speech is not enough. At the end of the day, I can't trust what you say. I can only trust what you do.
Yeah.
I'm going to observe your actions. And so your actions will tell me what I can trust. I can either trust that you're going to do the right thing, or based upon your actions, I'm going to trust that you're going to continue to do the wrong thing. And so at the end of the day, what are you doing? Don't get caught up in false hope, false promises, all the disappointments that come along with, all of the sweet, flowery language that your spouse gives you, and, all the things that have proven themselves not to be fruitful at all. Look at the deeds and the actions over a period of time. We just had a private marriage intensive, and I was just telling this person, I said, listen, trust is gained over time. You listen, if you've had a pattern of indiscretions and betrayals and constant lying, and then all of a sudden you have an epiphany and you say, I'm not going to do it anymore, and they get mad that they don't trust you, but what are they looking at? They're looking at the pattern. The pattern identifies what principles you live by. The principles you live by, what gives her what? A promise of what to expect. Okay. And based upon the promise of what she can expect, she can now predict future behavior based upon past behavior. So in essence, if you want a new restored relationship, you've got to change those internal patterns. You've got to change those behaviors. But it first starts with changing your mindset, because marriage is all about mindset. If you don't have a strong conviction that says, I will never do it again, and these are the reasons why, then you will find yourself in vulnerable positions where you succumb to temptation because you don't have an internal vow and conviction that governs your life. And so listen, you don't have to cheat again. It's a decision that you made. Stop blaming it on circumstances. Stop blaming it on situations. Stop saying, well, she approached me and I didn't know what to do. No, those are lies. You're lying to yourself. That's what you're doing. And that's why you lied to your spouse. spouse.
And that's why you need Foundry. But anyway, go on.
There it, or Unearthed. Because some
Right.
of you
Well,
women
you
are
were
trifling too.
Well, you were saying he, so that's why I jumped on Foundry. Right.
You trifling women out there, and you trifling men need Unearthed.
Even if you're not
Foundry.
trifling, it ain't for trifling.
You
Listen,
trifling. We all been trifling at some point.
that's true. We all have fallen short.
You trifling self.
Okay.
Get your trifling life together. And reach out to couplesacademy.org. Go to the website or reach out to us at 678-200-8996. We love you guys.
Love you
We'll
guys.
see you tomorrow. Have a great day.
Bye.
Take care.